Yes, and I will remind everyone, we do have a 1 minute time limit. I've been very generous because I know this is near and dear to your heart. So please try and keep your testimony concise, and please begin by stating your name.
My name is Winnie He, and a private citizen. I submitted my testimony online this morning about 10 a.m. and I registered to vote at that time too. I guess you didn't get it. Maybe you got it, but it didn't deliver it to you. Oh, I see. I support CD1 draft to resolution 12319 to put back the language to label GMO and repeal PLDC, and I'm also here to support Councilman Berg. Mr. Manahan, you might remember me. I'm a retired teacher from Farrington High School. You're a good politician, and I'm hoping you're a good politician. I'm Mr. Martin's constituent, and he laughs at me when I talk about economic development. You know, PLDC is about economic development. I heard it straight from Dane Wicker and Senator De La Cruz's office. But you know, you have to excuse the part when I was explaining about that I was online. PLDC is about economic development because Dane Wicker told me that they needed the rules of PLDC in order to do transit-oriented development, that it took the developers too long to get their projects built, so they needed PLDC to speed up the process. And I think it should be repealed. We don't need to speed it up. And as far as labeling GMOs, I read labels and I vote with my dollars. And I want to know what I'm voting for, you know. And I vote for natural foods. I vote for small farmers. And I vote for companies that are compassionate and ethical. GMO companies, they put small American farmers out of business by suing them when the farmer's land, through no fault of his own, is contaminated by the GMO pollen and seeds. Then they sue them because the seeds are patented. There's starvation in Africa and India because the subsistence farmers there have to buy seeds every year from these companies. That's immoral. You know, throughout history, farmers have been able to save their own seeds. I don't know, I hope you're good, and I don't want to repeat what everybody else said, but I'll tell you this, if your hearts break for small animals like cats and dogs, can't your hearts break for farmers and starving millions around the world?
Thank you. Any questions?
Hi, my name is Mitsuko, and I am a mother of 3, and I am in support of CD1, and I'd like to have, I'm opposed to PLDC, but I'm primarily here for GMO labeling, and I would like to see the City Council support GMO labeling as a priority for our future. I grew up in California, and 4 years ago I came to Hawaii. I ate primarily organic most of my life, but in Hawaii everything is pretty expensive. So I started eating, feeding my children conventional foods, not knowing that they were laden with GMOs. So I really feel deceived. And I believe that there are other mothers like me who would be really upset to know that their foods have GMOs. And so I am asking you to support GMO labeling and allow people to choose whether they eat or not. I brought my son here and he would like to testify soon after me. But for his sake and for my other children and for his peers who will know maybe 10, 20 years from now the dangers of eating all these foods, I mean, the evidence is there. It's coming out every day. We find information how dangerous this could be. So I'd like you to make this a priority as City Council. What you say has weight in our state legislature as well. So I ask you to support GMO labeling and include it in the agency. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Mrs. Saikawa, you can remain there and just have to sit and sit.
Hi, my name is Ko Hayakawa and I'm 10 years old. I go to Pearl City Highlands Elementary School. I've been doing a lot of research on GMOs and my research is not very pleasant. I found out that we don't really know what will happen to humans if we eat GMOs, but people are still putting it out on the store shelves. It's almost the same thing as if we are being used as test animals. I thought it was illegal to test on humans without us knowing. Just in case the results of eating GM food aren't good, it should be labeled. If my generation eats GM food for 20 years and the effects are bad, are you going to take personal responsibility for the sick people? How long will it take for the FDA to stop GMO from entering our food supply? Based on the tobacco issue, it will take 20 to 30 years. How much damage can happen in the span of 20 to 30 years? Who's going to wait that long? Adults have the choice to buy GMO-free labeled foods at places like Down to Earth, but kids don't have a choice. At the food cafeteria, nothing is labeled. At least if everything at Foodland is labeled, kids can help their parents make good choices. So please help pass a law to label GMOs in Hawaii.
Very good.
What is your name again? Did you say your name again?
Go ahead, Paula.
Thank you very much for being here today. I'm going to tell you, Principal, you did very well today. Thank you. Members, any questions? Councilmember Burr?
When you go back and deliberate at the picnic table, the dinner table, or school, or on the playground, I want you to witness this, staff. People like you who came to testify today did this, just like you, all wanting to know what's in their food. I have no staff that says they disagree with you. Not one person gave me testimony today. So when you go to the playground, the question to you is, when you go to school, you talk to your teachers, whatever it may be, if this council doesn't restore GMOs, and everybody like you wants the right to know, and this council didn't vote for your sentiments, your wishes, what would be your response when you go back to school? What are you going to tell your peers, your classmates, that everybody wants to know? Nobody came here and said you shouldn't, but if this council doesn't follow your lead, what would you tell your friends? How would you explain the vote? Do you have a response to that?
I'm not sure that one really makes sense.
Maybe it's me because I don't know how to ask a question. I'm gonna ask your mother then. I'm gonna ask your mother on behalf. Can you chime in on that question?
Last year, when he was in the 3rd grade, he did do a PowerPoint presentation on GMOs to his class and exposed what he learned from reading Jeffrey Smick's Genetic Roulette and several other books and documentaries. He shared that information, and so many of his students were concerned as well, and has started asking questions about why isn't the FDA doing anything to protect us. And then shortly after that, he did. They were reading the social studies book, and the first sentence in the social studies book says, "The government protects the people." And he raised his hand apparently and told me that later on, he told me that this is wrong because we have been asking for GMO labeling and it hasn't happened. And all of his peers agreed.
Well said.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nadine Light. My husband spoke earlier. And I am a retired school teacher, taught for almost 30 years in California. Just returned back to my homeland, and within less than a year, I am almost sorry that I did. The only reason why I came back, well, one of the main reasons why I came back was for my parents and my roots here. But everything that I have seen so far has been a huge disappointment. To make it really short, what really frightens me is, despite all of the testimonies, listening to the true harmful effects of GMOs in our food source. And I just want to share with you personally that I will spend whatever it is on my food budget to get good organic food. That comes first. Everything else comes second. If there's extra money to go out and do other things, fine. But we will not eat at restaurants. Our primary concern is good organic food, and those are the only businesses and farmers, I prefer small farmers, that I will support. So that's my personal connection, and as a school teacher, I have seen over the years just the change overall in my students. And yes, it's not completely due to what they're eating, because technology, we're in a digital age, and parents are not necessarily monitoring how much time their child spends in front of the computer or watches TV. And you know, that's part of the picture, but part of it is definitely what they're eating. And I'm here to say that what really frightens me, going back to what I was saying, is that we have a governor who feels, and I saw this quote in the newspaper, who feels that organic farmers are gardeners and hippies. Okay, so those of you who came from the state capitol, could you go back and tell the governor that there are people who, or organic farmers are not hippies. And people who are interested in having organic, good food are not hippies. We are educated people who are not going to live in ignorance and be beholden to money and greed. Absolutely. And that is what frightens me, is because that is what we are up against. You guys are sitting there silently. The only person who's asking questions is Honorable Mr. Tom Berg here. No one is asking any questions because, to me, in your heart, you are not interested. You could not care less. And that's what scares me the most, is a little child testifying, little tears and whatever, but when it's your grandchild or your child or whatever who gets sick. But actually, you know what I have observed is that the legislators and all the people who are in position are quite wise in how they lead their own lives. But it's okay for everybody else to have the inferior, whether it be public schools or food that is inferior, but for your own family, you're going to make sure that they get the best. That's wrong, because you're public servants. You need to do what is best for your constituents, for all people, not just for you and your family and your friends. Thank you very much. And by the way, this is in my purse. It is a whole book of all of the food items in which that have hidden GMO ingredients. I really would like to go shopping someday and not have to look in my book at everything and read ingredients constantly and constantly search through my book before I buy anything. And also regarding PLDC, I am absolutely in favor for the repeal of that just unbelievable, whatever it is that, and I'm still learning too, someone else said that, that is snatching up every bit of land left available. It's like, when is it gonna stop? When is it going to stop? This island is already overdeveloped. The infrastructure is already taxed. Our water supply is diminishing, seriously diminishing. And yet, the governor and the legislators still want to do backdoor deals and continue to develop whatever land is left.
Thank you very much.
It's just ridiculous. So,
Thank you.
It's all about money.
yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any questions, members?